You know, Agile's got this whole universe of concepts. Kanban, Scrum, Asana, story points, whatever. It can be super overwhelming sometimes. And just when you think that you know all of it, you actually realize that there's so much more to learn. But don't worry, my name is Alejandro Castellanos, and in this video, I'm gonna help you navigate these concepts and show you how to kickstart a product or a project using Agile frameworks. We're gonna talk about initiation, planning, building, and running these projects or products. And guess what? Each one comes with its own special tool to make your life actually easier. Remember that these tools are suggestions, not commandments. It's about inspiring your process, so feel free to tweak them to fit a little bit your needs. But before we jump in, can you actually handle agility? Take the assessment below and it'll tell you if your project or product is ready to use Agile methodologies. If it passes the test, then awesome. Stick around and let's get right into it. Now, think of picking your Agile framework like picking a new soccer player for your team. You need to know what each person brings to the game, and you need to send them to the field at the right time. In Agile, your MVPs are design thinking, Scrum, and Kanban, each bringing their unique strengths to different phases of your project or product. And here's the kicker. You can mix and match these frameworks and only use the parts that you really need when you really need them. So you can use design thinking to understand your users, Scrum for planning and building, and Kanban for running the show. It's about using the right tool at the right time. Now, let's go to starting a project or a product. It all starts with design thinking. This tool helps you define the scope and get inside the heads of your users, validate your ideas and understand your market by creating workshops with your team, stakeholders, and of course, with the end users themselves. It's all about understanding the requirements that you need to complete the project. All right, now that you more or less know the scope of what you're gonna do, you need to plan how to do it. Here is where Scrum takes the spotlight. You want to take the insights from your design thinking phase and spend a good couple of weeks planning how to tackle these requirements. Generate a backlog using epics and user stories or acceptance criteria, and if you want, you can also display them in the form of a user story map. This will help your team understand the release flow and find dependencies between stories. Refine the user stories with a few colleagues of yours and get other perspectives. This will actually surely help you understand how to tackle these stories in a much more efficient way. And before starting development, make sure that you have at least the first 2 sprints perfectly well detailed. And don't worry about the others, you can work on them as the project goes on. Once you get a rough plan of how you will tackle the backlog, you now need to structure your team. Lucky for us, Scrum has already a defined set of roles and responsibilities for a team. Allocate the roles of product owner, Scrum Master, and developer to your team members and clearly communicate the expected ways of working between each other. You can visit the link below to understand what each role does in a team. Now that you have a backlog and you have a team, well, you need to create your Scrum ceremony schedule. Create a calendar and schedule the planning and review sessions as well as the daily stand-ups and all the other ceremonies, making sure that actually everybody is on board. If you're curious about the purpose of each meeting, hit the link below. Okay, so now that your team is set up and structured, you can start building. So for your first sprint, you can start with a kickoff meeting, where you present the complete structure of your project and the purpose of your product. Lay it all out there. The diagrams, the user story map, the timelines, the first sprint drafts, and team structure, etc. Don't forget to mention communication channels. Create a common chat or a common mailing list to keep everybody on sync. So now you've worked about 10 sprints and the project is over and your product is finally live. Congratulations. The build phase is over and now you start the run phase. Be ready to handle issues and activities deriving from users interacting with what you built. This is where a Kanban board becomes extremely useful. Create a Kanban board to handle the changes that might come from the business users using your product. After all, the product you develop might need to be tweaked a little bit after it got exposed to the market. The board is also good to handle issues or bugs that are found in your live product. So setting a workflow to handle such incidents will be super helpful in increasing the value users get out of your product by reducing the faults in the system. And that's a wrap. Planning a project and developing a product with Agile tools is not all that different than using other frameworks. It's just a little bit more product-centric and customer-centric. Remember that each tool is a universe of its own, so please feel free to dive into those details. And remember, stay agile, stay ahead, and catch you in the next sprint.